Hello, Jim 12's here, 10th of August 2022. I hope you're having a good day. The sun is shining somewhere in Sydney today, which is great. Today I've got a video entitled Virus Questions, and I've got 10 questions which I would love to share with you. So here we go. Number 1. The media seems to be quiet, and I mean all the media, social media, legacy media, seems to be very quiet in recent months about the origins of SARS-CoV-2. Does that mean everybody now knows what the origin was? It's settled and therefore there's no longer any question. Does that mean that it was a lab leak? Or what about other theories? Don't know. It's quiet. Number 2. I hear doctors who claim that the virus, SARS-CoV-2, has never been isolated. And then I hear there's discussion about what the term isolation means. So I would love to know what that means, and whether or not SARS-CoV-2 has been isolated, found to be a distinct organism, pathogen, which causes disease. Number 3. The PCR tests, I understand, test for a fragment of a gene, which is allegedly SARS-CoV-2. If that is the case, and the PCR test is simply picking up a fragment, I imagine 3 genes or whatever, of a genetic code, then can people be really sure that that sequence that's being picked up is in fact a template from the SARS-CoV-2 virus? Or could not that sequence of 3 or 4 genes be from another one? And especially as we're told that the SARS-CoV-2 mutates many times and we have different versions, does that mean that one bit stays static and never mutates? So, questions about the PCR test. Number 4, if you test positive with a PCR test for SARS-CoV-2, but you're asymptomatic, which apparently can happen, does that mean that you can transmit the virus to somebody else, even though you're not ill yourself? And does that principle apply to other diseases we might have? Might we be passing on sickness to somebody else and we not know it? Number 5. I question whether sickness has one cause and therefore one effect. It seems as if the media tell us that if you've got the virus, therefore you're sick. I question that one cause, one effect ratio, if you like, because surely each of us are so unique. We have different levels of fitness, we're different age, we have different ethnicities, different BMI, different psychological factors, different diet, different gut health. We live in different parts of the world, in different climates. And I certainly recall living in England when there was a heavy period of frost that people would say, oh, this is good, it's killing off the bugs. But then on the other hand, a damp, wet winter oh, this is terrible, it's bad for the flu. So external factors surely impact how sick or whether sick you get. Number 6, gene theory versus terrain theory. Now, I feel that the atmosphere today in the communities that I move in simply accept that it's a germ. It's a germ in the air that we breathe in, we get sick. I would argue much more time needs to be spent thinking about the terrain, the landscape we live in, and the environment that we are exposed to. Is it clean water? Is it clean air? Is it good diet? Have we got good psychological health? These are so important, and yet don't seem to get a mention. And on that point, at the beginning of the SARS-CoV-2 era, I remember the authorities were rounding up people for being on the beach, Bondi Beach, and going surfing in the sunshine, in the salt water, in the open air, with the fresh air blowing off the Pacific Ocean. Now, I find that really odd that we as humans, because of regulations, we were asked to not expose ourselves to a healthy environment. Odd. And number 7, do viruses replicate in host organisms? That is like a parasite. If you think of a parasite living on a tree, living in an animal, thinking of the tiger in Tasmania and the illness that they had around their face. Does a virus, by definition, replicate within a host? Or are they the product of the organism's excretion system for toxic waste? In which case, lots of stuff comes out of a sick person. Number 8. Is SARS-CoV-2 any more lethal than any normal flu that we've all experienced over decades? I would ask us to look at the stats and assess whether or not it is a flu but labelled differently, and I would question whether its lethality, if that's a word, is any greater than a normal flu, which can, and the figure I've got in my head is that in Australia we typically lose 11,000 people a year to flu. Now, they are people who will have other ailments and they get the flu, and maybe they're also aged and it's just the last straw and their body can't fight it. So, number 9. What was the cause of the excess deaths from SARS-CoV-2? I'm sure the stats say that in some countries the excess deaths were definitely greater than normal flu. But what was that cause? And which leads on to my last question, number 10. How can we accept a statewide regimen of treatment applied to all the population? Don't doctors need to assess a whole raft of factors, patient by patient? It seems as if the medical profession has been turned into a dispensing chemist. there's one cause, there's one answer, this drug, bang, take that. Whereas surely the doctor's responsibility is to assess, are they on any other medication? What's their general health? What's their diet? What's their fitness level? Surely these factors need to be factored in before a blanket statewide regimen of treatment is applied. I have found that very odd, particularly in North America, although the regimen has been quite similar as far as I can tell across the Western world. Okay, I'm nearly through. So if you found this discussion helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I'm always putting up new videos, sometimes twice a month, on topics related to the world and the world's population. Let's put it as broad as that. So yeah, please consider subscribing. That would be great if you could. And finally, I would love you to make contact through the comments if you're a medical doctor who has shared similar questions, or if you've done research on these issues and you may be able to help me, because I'm in the process of collating more information and writing up a new essay on the virus issues, and I don't want to presume that I've done all the research I need to. I'm sure there's much more I need to read and consider. So if you're out there and you would like to engage with me in discussions about these issues, I would love to hear from you. I've never put a request out like this on social media. This is my first. Let's see who finds this video. Have a great day. God bless. Bye for now.